The first ever Women's World Cup has been hyped up for a few years now, and we are nearing the beginning of the tournament as November 22nd kicks off this historic event taking place from that 22nd date through December 7th to the final. And we got to experience one of our firsts leading up to the World Cup, and that was the draw for the groups leading up to the World Cup. So we've known for some time now who has qualified to make it to the Philippines, and now we've seen the cast that has been set across the four groups of four to try and win the first ever Women's FIFA Futsal World Cup. Celebrities led the draw, and we actually saw the greatest celebrity of them all from futsal be the leader of this whole thing, and that's Falcao, someone who has recently been making waves in the futsal community by his push with FIFA for them to support futsal in a greater way, primarily with his conversations at the Men's World Cup and discussing what that means for the Olympics and trying to encourage FIFA to find a way to support futsal through the Olympics. We do see it at the junior Olympic level. It's time to see it at the adult level. Falcao's been advocating for the sport for that, and he was the big draw for the draw, as we saw here just on the 15th of September. He was joined by Tijana Nemčić, which is the Croatian coach for the women's national team. But not only that, she is the first ever woman to coach a first team men's squad in their outdoor league there in Croatia. So a historic figure from Croatia there, a woman that is breaking barriers in a lot of ways. I've watched a couple of interviews, albeit short, just clips about her, and it sounds like her futsal background is really more street soccer, but there is a lot of overlay from that, but not really in a formal way that I can find so far. Not to say it's not out there. I need to do some more research, but someone who is really breaking barriers and finding a way to push things forward for the women. And that is the theme of the rest of the celebrities who are at this draw. Moving on to two other very prominent women in the Philippine sports world. First being Hallie Long, who is the captain of the Philippines women's national team for the outdoor soccer team. She most recently participated in the World Cup in 2023 as her big highlight and played in 3 games. She's been a mainstay for that national team. And she was joined by Vanny Gamler, who is the volleyball standout from the PVL, the Premier Volleyball League in the Philippines. And they all represented the Philippines in a great way and women in a great way. So we see the all-time great Falcao leading the charge, flanked on all sides by women that are making a difference and moving things forward for females in sports. And with that, they showed us what our stakes were for the group stage. So as we get through this video, hopefully you guys will decide who your favorites are in each group. And starting with Group A, we see the Philippines, of course, as the host, the first team. They automatically take that first spot in Group A. They will be joined by Poland, Morocco, and Argentina. A little bit of an unfortunate draw for the hosts, but they have a very tall mountain to climb in that group. Group B sees Spain, Thailand, Colombia, and Canada. Spain, of course, probably one of the favorites to make it all the way among a couple other countries here in these groups, but Thailand also a very active country for their futsal, particularly on the men's side, even on the women's side, and Colombia and Canada rounding out that group. Then you see Group C. Portugal, another massive powerhouse for women's futsal, is joined by Tanzania, who is a bit of a shock entrant from the AFCON Cup of Nations for the women's group. Japan, another AFC standout, and then New Zealand covering Oceania for us here in this inaugural World Cup. So Portugal, I would imagine, is favorites for this tournament, and it seems like they've got on paper an easy way out of the group. Watch out for Japan as well, but the other two, Tanzania, someone who really shocked a lot of people again, like I said, at AFCON. So are they a potential dark horse in this group to kind of shake things up? Only time will tell. And then in Group D, Brazil, of course. You can't think of this sport without thinking of Brazil. We also have Iran, Italy, and Panama. So a pretty stout group in Group D. I think that's going to be the group to watch with the most excitement. But it's a World Cup. Anything can happen. All these countries come to play. They know that this is the top stage and that they need to make a difference with the 100 and plus percent effort. Next, we talk about who goes through. So we see the winners and runners up from each group make it through out of these group of fours into a quarterfinal. The winner of Group A faces the runner-up of Group B and vice versa. And then the winner of Group C faces the runner-up from Group D and vice versa again. Then those teams will face off in a semifinal, whoever wins from those groups. And then, of course, the final on December 7th. Now, we often do watch parties on this channel for big events and the futsal world, like when we did it for CONCACAF. And a lot of times that really has to coincide with my schedule for us to be able to make it work. The hours difference is going to be very difficult here with the Philippines, but not impossible. So we are going to be able to stream a few games here and there. Most of these games will be taking place very early in the morning, my time, as early as 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and with a work schedule to work around as well as children, that's going to be very difficult for me to pull those times off. But luckily, because of this time difference, there are some first games of the day that actually fall in the evening, my time. They'll be late nights, but I think that they'll be worth staying up for to enjoy a little Women's World Cup action with you guys. And then as we get into the tournaments and get into the weekends, the time schedule is the same. I can't guarantee I'll be able to do anything, but obviously a little more flexibility might be able to pull it off. So keep an eye out on the channel if you guys are interested in doing those watch parties. Again, I think a lot of our subscribers have come from those. And if you're interested in watching along with someone as a watch companion, that's where we do that. We don't actually watch the game on the stream for copyright purposes, but we can at least enjoy the games together. And for some folks in countries that are geo-blocked, they've found that they've been able to use our channel to at least keep up with the score. Hope to see you guys be a part of that. But more importantly, in the meantime, I'm curious what your guys' take is on these four groups and who your favorite is to move on to the World Cup finals and possibly lift that trophy for the first time. Brand new trophy for a brand new competition. But I want to hear what you guys have to think about all this. For me, it's pretty clear with the foundation of the women's futsal scene really still building itself up that there are two camps. There are those that have been participating at an international level, regardless of whether there's been a World Cup or not. And then there's everybody else who is pretty new to the scene in general. And that means inexperienced coaches, inexperienced players at this level of intensity. I think we're going to see some blowouts. I think we're going to see some pretty tough score lines. And I think that the regions like UEFA and CONMEBOL are going to be the ones that are most successful. AFC is definitely going to shake it up because they are the ones that participate at a women's level, at a high level, more often than not on an annual basis. So something to keep an eye out as far as I'm concerned. Tell me what you guys think. Am I off base here? Or do you guys have your own opinions about your favorite teams? Sound it off in the comments. Let us know who's going to win the Women's World Cup. And until I see you guys next time, don't forget to play with your soul.